All right. So what's my speculation on the real estate prices in this Corona mess? First of all, I think we're in a recession turning into a depression very soon. I think individual and corporate spending comes to a halt. I mean, we see it. So that's not a prediction. That's a reality right now. And even, they say like, oh, I think it was Trump I listened to yesterday. He says like, well, it's gonna pick up. We're gonna see the best time ever once this is over. No, Trump, we're not gonna see that. I don't know why he says that. I guess it's like people feel good for a while. It's kind of like the people who play the music when the Titanic was going down. Trump is a little bit like one of those musicians, because he must be aware. There's no way he's not aware. So yeah, I think hotels that will have a lower occupancy rate, and even with lower prices, I don't think the occupancy rate will be enough. I think a lot of hotels will have a really tough time. I'm sure it will differ from one place to another. I'm sure there's one place in the world or one type of hotels is better than the other. I can't tell that now. I can't see any difference now, I should say. But I think it will get slaughtered. And I think like a couple of months, half a year after I've been holding the gold, which is what I'm gonna go into after the corporate debt bubble has burst. I can see after that period of time, it's probably a year. I mean, the prices of hotel, the property, not like the management, but the property will probably be extremely low. And you can buy the property and then you can have like a Wyndham or a Hilton or something like that manage the hotel for you. They run their hotel. They run the hotel for you. I feel like the hotel idea is like it's within sight kind of thing. It's like I can see that being, assuming my predictions turn out right. Another one is probably real estate for restaurants, and could probably be good. I just have a knee-jerk reaction to it. I don't like it. So yeah. Housing crisis. I think like I wouldn't bet on it because it's like there's too many moving parts. The hotels you can kind of like expect because of the cash flow. So people won't spend on that kind of stuff. Corporate won't spend on like hotel nights. It's the same. More meetings will be held online to save money. But the housing, I wouldn't bet that it's a big volatility movement in that, because like if you want to make money, like you can say like, yeah, it's gonna probably, I mean, it's almost certain gonna go down, but still it's like how much will it go down and how much will it go back up again? And you really want to hit the most extreme ones if you're gonna make money in the option trading game, or even in general if you want to make money. And I also think like, what if we get stuck on really low interest rates? Like, then I can see housing prices kind of stay kind of like the same, maybe go down 20% or something like that, but then they stay there. I wouldn't touch home builders. I wouldn't short them. I wouldn't short them because I think they're already too expensive to short. And I wouldn't even buy calls on them because I don't see any homes being built in the near future. If I had houses, I don't have property, but if I had property, I'd be way more happy to be my buddy in Tampa who sits on a bunch of like low income property right now with a good positive cash flow than like sitting on negative cash flow. Imagine you just bought property, like if you just bought property in like Santa Monica, they always do negative cash flow the first year or 2 years, and then you get the appreciation of the increased rental prices, and that gets you cash flow after a couple of years, but it takes a couple of years. So like there could be people who have bought right now, so I wouldn't want to be in that seat. That would be scary if I had bought California real estate recently. I think commercial real estate, it kind of depends on the cash flow business. So if you think like big malls, I feel like big malls like the Sears kind of malls, can they be repurposed? Yeah, probably, but there's just gonna be so many of them, just so much of it. I think it take like 5 years before one can repurpose that really like to the full extent. I don't think like there's enough. I don't think there's enough opportunity for me to be interested in it. I think like places that Italy, I think like Italy is interesting because I know it a little bit. They haven't really caught up on the online shopping, and I think that will catch up a lot in the coming decade. I think they will be just like people in California who kind of expect when they order something online, they expect to have it by the door by the evening. And I think over there one can see like their real estate kind of work like this in the city center. You want to look at northern Italy, at least north of Rome, because in the south they're so poor. So the GDP per capita is just too low too. And it's unstable too. I heard some bad stories from friends being there and they ran into a problem with the mafia. Anyway, so Italian cities look kind of like it's an old city center, assuming the town is old, but most of the towns. And outside of the old city center is like the kind of younger city center, but it's still like 70 years old or maybe 50 years old. Outside of that is the industrial area, and then outside of that would be some malls or something like that. So the malls are not really in that great locations in Italy. Actually, the industrials are better if you're gonna think like you're gonna have like a warehouse that Amazon would be interested in, because it's just closer to the city center. It matters probably most in bigger cities though, where the distance gets a little bit larger. You also have so way more, I think it's like 4-5 times more retail square foot per person in America than in Italy, and I think that speaks well for going into warehouses, especially if they cash flow on whatever business they have, and then you can repurpose it to these kind of like Amazon same day delivery locations a couple of years out. Strip malls in California, in America in general, yeah, I think they will survive. I think the cash flow of the businesses are pretty good. Like if the government gives out money, you know, like it's like Papa John's Pizza or Domino's Pizza or Dry Clean or something. I think most of them have a decent chance of staying alive. I mean, right now they have a really tough time and they won't get bailed out like the big corporations will. But long term, like over like in a year's time, I think they're in decent shape. I think construction machinery will fail, and it might be great for me because I really hope to be able to pick up a nice excavator. I just love to go out and dig, and I think it's very fun to drive one of those. So even though I don't think Caterpillar's business has a great future, I'm a little bit scared of the bipartisan support of infrastructure spending, and I could see if that goes through and they start like crazy spending to kickstart the economy again, then you know they would need a lot of excavators, they will need a lot of Caterpillar, that kind of like machinery. Then at the same time we gotta question yourself, like China had this insane amount of construction the last 10 years, and I think there's just so much machinery out there, and I don't think their construction will continue. If their construction don't continue and they start selling it out in the world market, I mean, I think like China alone could fill up the whole need for the world market machinery on construction for the next 10 years. They don't need to produce a single thing. That's my feeling. I got that feeling from a channel I followed, and this channel was very crucial to my understanding of China and how the corona would develop. I actually had before this lockdown, I had like 8 weeks to prepare for this lockdown. That's how much time I had because of this channel. It's called ADV China. I can link it in description below, a link for it. good videos, especially their videos. I link their videos on real estate because those are really interesting to understand China. My prediction on Corona is that it will be over fairly soon, maybe 2 months from now. And I think the reason for that is that when people get kind of desperate, you know, they weren't really desperate enough, but when people get kind of desperate, they're ready to take more risk. When they're ready to take more risk, they're trying more medications and different drugs that are existing. And I'm pretty sure that there's something out there that works for Corona that's already invented that will function by 90%, maybe not be a vaccine, but it will take away 90% of the problems for the people who get infected. As much so we can go out and live our normal lives. Well, this is my normal life, but for you guys who have a non-isolated lifestyle, you can go out and live your normal lives again. And I think also the economy, they just have to get it going again. They will stress, but I have that from personal experience. You get a real big problem, and you start getting ready to test whatever. You're like the risk you sit on is just so massive that like starting testing and maybe it will kill a few people here and there, but they will die anyway. So like it's just how the human mind works. And I think we're really starting in that desperation phase right now in the medical community where they start like just testing from left to right, and I think they will find something. I think the Vietnam back. I think like a year ago, it was really great. It looked very optimistic, and then Trump started with the decoupling of China. Now a lot of people, not media in general, but a lot of people start like questioning China. It's like, are they really our friend? And it kind of turned in some areas to like, oh, they're an enemy instead. If they start isolating China, well, that'd be good for Vietnam, I guess. If they keep like increasing the customs and the rates they have to pay. But at the same time, you know, it's a hit or miss. You also have the risk of China, like their labor cost coming down. If their labor costs coming down, they already have all the infrastructure in place. They're in such better position than Vietnam to start pushing out product. And if there's less demand in the world, like they will have massive amount of empty factories and empty workforce. They will probably fill up that. So it's a little bit tough time for Vietnam. This was supposed to be their time. I think there's a big chance that it might not be, but I might be wrong. Anyway, stay awesome.